G'day YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to today's video on YouTube. Today is, of course, well, as you can see, we are getting into a bit of a teaser point that autumn is slowly approaching around its way. Although that being said, and yes, I did see a pumpkin flower that has actually unfortunately died. I think it was a male pumpkin flower. And as you can see, hey, the seasons are physically changing, as what I can always seemingly tell by the looks of it. And I tell what the guys say, it's either good news or bad news in general, I suppose, eh? It really is what it is. Right, as I'm looking around, it feels totally and utterly different. We've got the pumpkin, of course. Now, one thing I've noticed about this pumpkin is that it's already been surrounded by other appendages of all sorts. There's a bigger pumpkin vine, and as you can see, that big-sized pumpkin is actually being overshadowed by other pumpkins. As you can see, it's actually been straightforward taken over by another big female flower, which is also going to spore in another female pumpkin fruit thingy. And I tell you what, I think that might not actually help the current fruit that I've got at the moment. It might probably get a bit spoiled, resulting in such a stunt bit of growth. The pumpkin does feel a little bit hollow at the moment. It's not that rock hard, but it's starting to become really, really good. Although I think maybe by the end of the season, by autumn, all I can really say is, hey, it's going to be completely and utterly orange as we head to the later part of September. But I just want to see that thing grow really, really fast. Although I did pour out a bit of slow-released fertilizer, of course. I think it was around last week that I did it, I think, because I wanted to have a really good and healthy looking pumpkin. And yes, the sunshine is still quite warm, although just to be very mindful, the seasons are physically going to be changing over the next 10 days or so. It is crazy when you think about it, although with that being said, there is a further confirmation that we're going to get a heat wave around September. So for those who are going back to school in their school uniforms and whatnot, hey, you may not need extra layers. And I'm not going to go ahead and be straightforward and appropriate and klutzy and dumb in this video, because, hey, let's go over of what I've just planted. So, as you can see, I've got a lot of potato plants. They have straightforward started to droop down, because obviously I might have placed too much water on them. But I'm still waiting for these guys to dry up. You know, as we get into autumn, these guys are going to lose a lot of chlorophyll. And once they start to lose chlorophyll, you get much bigger potato crops. But that's not always the case, isn't it? Right, so let me just show you. Yeah, I tell you what the guys say. I mean, look at the cabbages. They've actually grown so well. Although I'm starting to see quite a bit of negative effects. Like, for example, I'm starting to see a bit of gnawing from the aphids. And I'm starting to think, well, if I'm about to transplant my cabbages and lettuces, then maybe I need to get a good inspection of what kind of solution can I get away with. And we've got some tomatoes. We are going to get some thunderstorms and rain from tomorrow, obviously. I don't know how much lightning we're going to be having tomorrow, I suppose, hey? But they're going to be really hit and miss, I suppose, say, because, well, it's a better chance, obviously. We're going to have a greater chance of thunderstorms, but yet again, at the same time, they will be hit and miss, depending on how much convection and instability that we have at the moment. And we've got a lot of peppers. This one's got like 5, and the other one's got like 3 peppers. But I don't think they're going to really flower this year, because obviously, hey, I think what's going to happen is that by the time when we get towards autumn, these guys are actually going to die off. So unfortunately, these guys are not going to really do fairly well. But anyways, hey, I'm going to show you there's more pumpkin plants. I think this one here, I know it's going to spore in a few female flowers, which I'm not seeing, obviously, which is a bit sad. Is that a butterfly? I wonder what kind of butterfly is that. Should I catch that? Nah, it's always going to go really, really fast. It looks like one of those cabbage patch white butterflies. I think it's a white cabbage butterfly, and they are actually one of the more commoner species of butterflies. They have actually been doing so well. I think by next year we might have a bigger butterfly season because of how dry and hot the summer has been. Although, with that being said, there has been a lot of talks about how this heat wave has caused. We had 5. There could be a 6. Is it 5 or 6 heat waves? I can't really remember, of course. Apparently there's been some very sad and bad news with this pumpkin fruit. It's actually starting to deteriorate. Now this section here is broken, and what I've witnessed is, hey, this plant here is actually broken, so I would have came along and fixed it with a bit of tape. But I think that's just the nature of such a thing like that. I think as soon as I see a plant that looks like this, yes, the buds are going to die off. That fruit might potentially die off within, let's just say, a couple of weeks time, because I think this section here has been broken off like so. Yeah, it's not a very good look when I start to see pumpkin flowers like that, or pumpkin thingies like that, which is not that great. But apparently there is a bit of compensation going on here. There is another pumpkin fruit that is also developing at this very moment. And let me just show you. So it's actually tucked in the back. I've got... oh, sorry, was that a bee? Or was it a wasp? I just hope I didn't get stung. Okay, that was actually a little honeybee. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to spook you there. Right, obviously, that there is a female pumpkin plant. Flower thing. And I'll tell you what, I'm actually squashing other plants, which is not that great. I've got a calendula right in front of me. Nasturtiums as well. This actually seems to be a massive apocalypse of various plants that I've planted so far in the U-High. In fact, what I will do is I'll just straightforward strip out the male flower and just feed it to the female flower, because that's highly important, isn't it? It's not going to look pretty because of the way I'm handling with my tablet. Okay, let me just put this apart. Obviously, I love doing this. And you go like that. Of course, you can do it with a paintbrush. Obviously, you can just straightforward rub it towards like so. Hey, let me try and just demonstrate this. It's not going to look very pretty because of light and color balance from the sunlight. Yeah, I'm just rubbing these guys out just because... oops, I think I've damaged the flower. I think I've just destroyed its stigma, which is not that great. Oh, that's not very, very good. I think that might result in a bit of poor pollination that I've just done so far, hey? But I'm just doing it just because. Okay, I'm just turning the brightness on so I can show it to you a bit closely. Okay, I'm just going to straightforward demonstrate this to you, hey? I think that's where the majority of the seedlings are going to be inside. The majority of the seeds are going to be highly inside, and it looks like I'm damaging that pumpkin flower, which is not a very good sight to see. And it feels like, hey, I've got like two, just in case one pumpkin fruit is not performing well. But I think that might result in a stunted fruit, so it's not going to grow that much, I think. But anyways, hey, let me just have a look at other plants as well. That little tiny, it's actually a small sunflower. That there is probably going to really die out real soon. And as you can see, summer is nearly coming out of its way. It is nearly dying as hell. And as you can start to see, hey, a lot of sunflowers, I might probably say, hey, they're literally going to die apart this year. Because I think it's a bit too late to try and pull these guys out and place it as some sort of wedding bouquet. Oh man, that would have been so great, wouldn't it? But anyways, hey, the ones I'm actually looking forward to are the pumpkins. But yeah, this one here has actually started to turn into much more of a darker sort of colour, and there's actually a few more bits which are broken in this pumpkin. And actually, if I look very closely, there's a bit of damage. You know, I've actually realised this piece here is nearly going to snap off, I'm sure. And I think I'm going to get a very bad pumpkin by the end of this season. So I'm just going to try and tap the pumpkin for a bit. It does look quite hollow, but the ripening of the pumpkin will also depend on how much chlorophyll is going to get lost. And I'll tell you what, guys, it feels like I've been doing a lot much more strategy than just having to, you know, look after every single plant. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of strategic techniques so far to look after every single plant. Oh man, it's almost been very hard. I can obviously assure you from this one. Yes, lots and lots of nasturtiums, lots of calendulas. They're actually growing so well. So I think the winners are beyond this are the sunflowers, the calendulas, and also the nasturtiums. Pretty amazing when you think about it. And actually, speaking of the sunflowers, look what I've just done with that big, major sized sunflower. It has actually been totally dead-headed. I actually did this on Monday. I know it's sad, but this is what happens when sunflowers lose their life and they are now beginning to straightforward die off. And I think that's how it is. It's the life and death of every single plant. Not everything has to live forever, I'm afraid. We've got 2 large-sized tomato fruits or plants, and these guys are actually doing very, very good. I can actually start to see they're putting out a bit more effort and putting so much flowering activity and whatnot. Got some more calendulas. I'll tell you what, the calendulas and the cornflowers have actually been doing so well, and so is the lettuce. The number of plants I've grown so far has actually been quite stunning, although I do think this one here is probably going to stunt, which is not that good. I'm just hoping it doesn't bolt, because if it does bolt, well then it's going to produce like very bitter seeds, which is not going to be very good. I will have to transplant them one day, but it will just depend on how much time and effort do I really have at the moment. Anyways, hey, let's take what other plants do I have. I've got some cornflowers as well. They've actually been growing so good. Very, very nicely, of course. And I'm going to go downstairs for a bit so I can show you what else do I have, I suppose. So I'll tell you what, my pumpkins are going to get really, really small. I have to say, I might end up having much smaller pumpkins than bigger sized pumpkins, which is not going to be as great as I initially thought it would be, hey? Yeah, my pumpkin is still small, so I'm sort of thinking maybe I need to come along and trim out these bits, like just in case if there's some very poorly pollinated female flowers, well then maybe that will be a great opportunity to try and trim these guys off, if I really want to or not. I dare say that could be a very good thing, I suppose, hey? Yes. Okay, so I'm sort of thinking maybe if I want my pumpkin to grow a little bit larger in size, then maybe it's best for me to try and either trim this section here, or maybe just leave as it is. And I mean, that's the problem with female pumpkin flowers. They just pop up at any random moment. And yes, as I was making this video, guess what's also turning up? There's actually one. I tell you what, there's actually quite a few female pumpkin flowers that have started to appear out of nowhere, of course, which is just beyond insane. Like if I look at here, if I go up towards this section, look what's here. There's one female pumpkin flower that started to formulate, and I tell you what, guys, hey, this does sort of seem to be set up in a bit of a stumbling block. Yes, and I tell you what, there's actually quite a lot of female pumpkin flowers just being formulated at a very rampant movement. It is just crazy as hell. You know, it's funny in how pumpkins, they just seemingly grow absolutely, if not exponentially fast. They are just very, very invasive in the way they grow. Their vines can just take out of nowhere. They can just take over out of nowhere. And I tell you what, guys, hey, yes, I'm going to have to do some more reading when I get back, I suppose, hey, because there's just too much growth. I think when we get into autumn, the growth metabolism from these plants are going to slow down. But hey, who knows? It could be well worth a while to try and think about what to do with my pumpkins, I suppose, hey, and other plants alike, because hey, the seasons are about to physically change. Anyways, I'm going to leave this video right here. I'm going to do other stuff. So if you really enjoyed this video, please give this video a very good like. Subscribe for more for that videos in the future. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and bye for now.